Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Your dial is set to Sonny Skidmore's favorite national broadcast. Sonny Skidmore is the owner of KLID, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And I know that this is her favorite national broadcast. And we're broadcast 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. John is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. I'm Vincent Finelli. There's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPREPARES.com. And if you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call, 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. If you'd like to listen to USA Prepares as you travel, 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. Werner Bock is with us in New Brunswick, Canada. Welcome, Werner.
Good morning, Vincent, and good morning to your listeners.
Good morning, Werner. You know, the topic I'd like to discuss today, and starting out, is crime in the United States of America. Cops are killing villagers with impunity. And I got a call yesterday from Gwyneth. And Gwyneth is one of our instructors, and she just called in from Australia. Welcome, Gwyneth.
Hello there, Vincent. How are you?
I am well, and you've got something on your mind that has to do with the plague. What's up?
Yes, the blue plague. You know what happened? It was last Wednesday week, okay? So, I think it's 26th or 27th of June, and I was out in my one-ton truck, and I was getting groceries, and I seceded, as I mentioned last time, and I got a private motor vehicle registration, okay? Now, what happened was I'd just left the service station. I'd had a cup of coffee at the service station, the Roadhouse. I was heading into town to get groceries, and do you know something? I was going over a railway line, and I was going to make, because we drive on the left in Australia, I was going to make a right-hand turn into a particular road that would take me to the supermarket. I just crossed over the railway line, and it was a double white line, which means you're not supposed to overtake on a double white line in Australia. I don't know what the road rules are in America.
Well, it's the same thing here. We have double yellow, typically double yellow lines, which means no passing.
That's right. Anyway, I was making a right-hand turn into this side street, and a prime mover overtook me on the right as I was making a right-hand turn and T-boned me at around about 30 miles an hour and struck me square on the driver's side door. And do you know something? I was shaking for about 2 days afterwards. I really was. It really could have been the end of me. And I would say the vast majority of people who are T-boned by prime movers do not live to tell the tale.
Okay, let's describe what a prime mover is. When you say prime mover, you're talking about a tractor-trailer truck.
Tractor-trailer truck, that's right. Yes. And do you know what? I said, listen, I actually did say to the guy, because the Inglewood police hate me, I exposed police corruption with them, okay, and with the Wedderburn police, that's the town that I was in, okay. The Wedderburn police and the Inglewood police are as bent as a dog's back leg. They have all sorts of corruption going and racketeering. And do you know what? I said to the truck driver, he tried to claim that I had indicated to go to the left, okay? But I hadn't actually changed lanes to go into the left at that time, okay? I had indicated to go to the right. And if anyone wants to see, there's dash cam footage on my YouTube channel, which is Gwyneth Isaacs on YouTube. You can go there and you can see the actual footage. There's a film of it in full speed. It's about a minute long. You know, that's normal time. And then I've slowed it down to pick out the details. You can see, because it was dark, it's winter here at the moment, it was about 6 p.m. at night and it was dark, you can actually see the reflection of the right-hand indicator reflected in the reflective paint on the road, in the street signs, in the cat's eyes that are running up the middle of the road, depending on, you know, how good your eyes are, because they're pretty hard to see in the YouTube image. They were really good to see in the original video, but YouTube's just like that sometimes. But you can definitely see the flashing indicator reflected in the white line in the middle of the road and in the street signs going up along into town. And I definitely did indicate to the right, not to the left.
How does this relate to the plague?
Okay, well, today what happened was I work as a 1-900 psychic from home. I was at home and my dogs just began to go crazy like you wouldn't believe. And I went out and I said, something's wrong out there. I went out and my son came in and he said, Mum, there's a cop car down the front. And I said, oh, far out. What happened, they came onto my property without my consent and they were just snooping about all over the place without a warrant. And I said, get off my land. And I must have said it 30 times. And they kept questioning me about this incident. I left the scene of the accident because I feared what the Inglewood police would do to me if they found me at that scene. It was not my fault. And I am very, very fortunate to be alive. And from fear of what the police would do to me, they could have arrested me, they could have put me in a cell, they could have bashed me up, raped me, anything, okay? And they could have said, oh, it was injuries because of, you know, the fact that she was hit or whatever from her vehicle. They could have done that. They do that all the time. But they came on my property today and they kept questioning me. I wouldn't say anything. I said, I'm not saying anything to you. Get off my land. And do you know something? After about 5 minutes and after me repeating, get off my land about 30 times, they eventually did leave. And as the cop was leaving and he was standing about a metre inside my fence line, he said, we're sending you a summons. That's what he said.
So he wants you to appear in court.
That's absolutely disgusting. It really, truly is. I was a victim in this accident, and they are taking the word of the truck driver over my word because, you know, I've been working to expose the corruption within the Inglewood police and within the Wedderburn police, which is 30 kilometres down the road because our farm's half, sort of between the two towns.
We have a neighbor, had a neighbor who lived near us, and she was a single gal in her 40s. And she was exposing the county cops online. Next thing you know, she's arrested, spends 7 days in jail. Next thing you know, she's told that if she doesn't leave the county and the state, that she's going to spend more time in jail. They chased her right out of the county. So what you're saying, I have a neighbor who this has happened to. And then if you look at Freddie Gray was a young black man in Baltimore. He was alleged to have a switchblade knife. He got picked up by the cops. They threw him in the back of what they call a van. Now, a van, to me, is like something that mom might take her children to school in. Well, a police van is more like a box truck with a box on the back and sharp corners, and they throw people in the back of that thing, and they handcuff them behind their back, and there's really no safety. And if you're not strapped in, as this box truck goes around corners, you go bouncing around like a ping pong ball in the back. And this poor guy, Freddie Gray, ended up with a broken spinal cord, and the 6 cops involved, none of them has been sentenced to prison.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is in America right now, there is violence in the street. There are protests. People have absolutely had it.
We have had it here. Mm-hmm. No one likes them.
Yeah, right.
Everybody hates them.
We said months and months ago, and we were not calling for this. We were not asking for it. We were not suggesting anybody do this. But we said the natural outcome of what the police are doing to the villagers, that would be us, is going to result in violence by anyone in uniform will be considered the enemy, because that's what they have made us the enemy. They have started shooting us, tasing us, killing our animals, our dogs, all with impunity. And because of that, we said that the natural outcome is obviously going to be these guys are going to be targets. And we said, so knock it off. Stop beating us up. Take that stick out of our eye, because this is likely what's going to happen.
That's right.
And now there are people tweeting. Here's one that I'm going to read it right now. It says, "I want to kill 100 cops every time I hear stop resisting." This is what some guy tweets. These people are angry. They've had it, and these flash protests are appearing in many cities throughout the country. For example, right now, Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Falcon Heights, Minnesota, Times Square, New York City, Union Square, New York City. Gwyneth, did you have anything else that you wanted to share? We're going into a break. No,
that's fine.
Gwyneth,
you fellas all have a lovely week, won't you?
Yeah.
Try to. But
Gwyneth,
call if you want to call up Inglewood.
Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-933-1430. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-933-1430. That's 1-800-933-1430.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Class, we have instructors from 6 countries here at USA Prepares, and they tell their stories about what happens to them. You just heard Gwyneth Isaacs from Australia. So the countries are Australia, New Brunswick, Canada, British Columbia, Canada, Guatemala, Austria, Mexico, and the United States. So your instructors come from those 6 countries. Werner Bock, what do you think about what's happening? Have you been following the news about the police killing people, black people, white people, with impunity? Have you heard some of these stories?
Yeah, I followed it up on the internet, and basically, it's high time that reasonable people start speaking out, no matter what side of the fence they're sitting. If they're white, if they're black, we want to see that order prevails in the country, and not that some hotheads, basically start inflame the situations that are already pretty volatile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
things are not right. You have veterans who have fought, like, for example, there was a veteran from World War II in Virginia, and he flew the American flag on his property. And he was fined. He was fined by his neighborhood association for flying the flag. They didn't think that was proper. I'm talking about flying the American flag. I'm not talking about flying a flag from another country here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm talking about flying the American flag. And you hear these outrages. Then you hear about guys like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, it's he's one woman accuses him of being of him drugging and raping her, and then another. There's like 20 of them, and there's more than 20 of them, and it's like, well, wait a minute, if this is happening, there's got to be some truth to this, and then he's denying it, and then he says, well, yeah, okay, I did it, and so, but it's difficult to bring him to court, and then you have the story of Freddie Gray, and he's this young black man in Baltimore, Maryland, and he allegedly has a switchblade. He gets arrested, handcuffed, thrown in the back of the truck. They take him for a ride, and he bounces around like a ping pong ball in the back of this truck. They open up the doors, and he's dead. And he's got a broken spine. And then so he was alive before they put him in the truck. Then he dies, and then you find out that the police are all the charges are the cops are found not guilty of abuse, but yet the guy's dead. And then you wonder, is there any justice? And who are you going to call? Are you going to call the people who commit these crimes to investigate these crimes? That's the problem. There's nobody to call. Then you have Hillary Clinton and her email scandal, and the FBI investigates. They have a meeting with her. She's not under oath, and there's no recording, and there's no transcript. So she gets away with that. And then you look, and then you have the governor of Virginia, who is accused of taking bribes. And then, so what happens there? Well, now it's more difficult to charge these guys with crimes and accepting bribes. That's the result. Then you look at Wall Street, and then you find these financial schemes, and these guys are getting away with looting, pillaging, raping, murder, tasing. It's all done with impunity, and the villagers are furious. And there's nobody to call. There's nobody to call. So now you have these protests. And what else are these people going to do but protest? The problem is they're protesting in the wrong place, in my opinion. They're protesting downtown. Why are they protesting downtown?
They have to protest at the Ivory Towers.
Yes. Yes.
And if you want to kill a predator, you don't shoot his tail off. You don't go for his tail. You go for his head.
Now we're not talking about killing anybody. I want to make sure that.
I mean just metaphor.
Yes, I understand that. And what you're saying is, the cops are the people who are doing the enforcing of those who tell them what to enforce. So they get these quotas, they get these contests, and the cops are, they're told, hey, okay, we want to go home safe tonight. Make sure you go home to your family. So, if anybody's going to get killed, it's got to be the other guy, not us. That's the kind of instructions that they're hearing. Maybe not in those exact words, but that's the message. And then so the police are on quotas. You want to keep your job? You got to do as well as the other guys. So more tickets, more harassment, beat up the villagers more. That's the kind of stuff that's going on. And the villagers are furious. We'll be right back.
Naturally, that there comes it back.
And it's coming back.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body Brain and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine, and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA-certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
My computer is so slow, it's making me crazy.
I used to have that problem.
Did you quit using a computer or did you buy a new one?
No, I called Geeks On Site. They made an appointment to visit my home and showed up the same day.
You mean they didn't ask you to bring your computer to a shop? That's what happened when I called a support company.
Geeks On Site can go to your home or business or even repair your computer online. They have 24/7 emergency service.
If you are having problems with your PC or Mac, call Geeks On Site, 1-800-591-1682. Our friendly certified computer repair experts are available 24/7. Call now for a free diagnosis, 1-800-591-1682. Data recovery, virus removal, and maintenance for all laptops, desktops, printers, and networks. That's Geeks On Site for friendly certified computer repair experts, available 24/7 over the phone or in your home or business. Just call 1-800-591-1682. That's 1-800-591-1682, 1-800-591-1682. 1682.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Class, Werner Bock is with us, and Werner, let me read something that is quite startling. The website is mappingpoliceviolence.org. Mappingpoliceviolence.org. And it shows a graph here. It says unarmed, let me say it a different way. Unarmed black people were killed by police at 5 times the rate of unarmed whites in 2015. Goes on to say, here are their key findings. Police killed at least 102 unarmed black people in 2015, nearly twice each week. Next item. Nearly 1 in 3 black people killed by police in 2015 were identified as unarmed, though the actual number is likely higher due to underreporting. Next key point. 37% of unarmed people killed by police were black in 2015, despite black people being only 13% of the U.S. population. Goes on to say, unarmed black people were killed at 5 times the rate of unarmed whites in 2015. Next point, only 10 of the 102 cases in 2015 where an unarmed black person was killed by police resulted in the officers being charged with a crime. Let me say that a different way. Only 10 of the 102 cases in 2015 where an unarmed black person was killed by police resulted in officers being charged with a crime. Interesting. So it appears to me that people are being killed by the police, and it's not necessarily just blacks. It's all of us. It just seems that more black people are getting killed by a percentage of population than whites. But people are being killed, tased, harmed, beaten, roughed up by cops. I've even heard stories of relatives of cops. This is, secondhand, but, relatives of cops have told me that what the police will do is they'll handcuff someone in the police station, multiple story building, and they'll take these arrested people who are handcuffed behind their back down a flight of stairs to the next floor below. And it's amazing how many of these guys fall down these concrete steps and really get banged up falling down the stairs.
Well,
now I'm sure they have elevators, but you can't fall down the elevator as easily as you can be shoved down the stairs. And that's what they do. Werner?
Just happened to be an accident. And as you know, as the saying goes, birds of a feather will stick together.
Mm-hmm. And they call that the blue glue. Just try to get a cop to testify against another cop. It doesn't happen. It's the blue glue.
He becomes the odd man out.
Yes. Yep.
Your guest there, Gwyneth from Australia, and a similar situation here in Canada. Both countries are basically came out of the colonial British Empire. And how did they rule over the last 400 years? This is, it shows the pattern with intrigue and basically with corruption and so at the highest places. That's how they could keep their great empire together. And there is still an ingrained fear about, it's basically intergenerational in those countries. You can fight government. On your side of the border, there's still more free-spirited people. But I would say in those former colonial countries that were part of the British Empire or in some dictatorships, it's not wise to speak out. And it's very unhealthy. But every so often something blows up, and this happened here about 3 years ago here in New Brunswick. One guy here in Moncton, he got fed up with the police, and he shot 4 of them. They hunted him for 2 days, all over the city. They had the city locked down. They had police and RCMP from other jurisdictions policing the city, until this guy, Burke was his name, until he finally, gave up and got apprehended. But it never were really told the reasons, but what filtered through was that he was just plain fed up about the corruption within the police and the way they were targeting certain people. And I've encountered the same thing when I was for over 40 years, and they hoped that I would basically blow a gasket and they would have something against me. So they made up all kinds of stories, false accusations, dragged me to court, put me in the loony bin and everything. But I did not lose my cool, And then finally, one RCMP officer, he threatened me, we get something on you. We put you to jail, And hopefully the judge will put you away for good. And here comes that mental health racket, If they can't make anything stick, then they use the so-called psychiatric horse for hire that come from third world countries, most of them, and they do whatever their masters tell them because they don't want to be sent back into the hellholes where they came from. This is, as I say, when you think you got corruption on your side of the border, don't look too much for a solution here from Canada. It looks good from the outside, but it's like a rotten apple inside. When you bite into it, you will get the bitter taste of all the rottenness that's inside. And that was the reason why 41 years ago I refused to accept the Canadian citizenship. And I saw how corrupt the system was. And I said, when I see the Canadian justice system working, I will become a Canadian citizen. But now, after so many years, it does not matter to me anymore. As a member of a community, I want to do my duty, no matter what color the community is. It's basically decent people and people, reasonable people, they have to come together and deal with the problem, because it is not a black problem, it's not a white problem, only a white problem, it's not a yellow problem, it's not a red problem, it's a problem all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Werner, let me share this with you.
Okay.
I was on the phone with one of our instructors who has spent some time in jail and in prison. And on Tuesday, we're going to be, his name is Mike Parsons. And you've all heard the name. And Mike Parsons is going to talk about the devices of torture on Tuesday that are used in prison and in jail. And I'm just going to give you a quick thumbnail sketch of one of these devices. Now, you think that crimes were committed in Cuba and Guantanamo Bay, with waterboarding class. Well, let me tell you about this one. So if they think that you might hurt yourself, they will wrap you up in a rug. They call it a turtle suit. They will wrap you up in this thick rug that has these metallic strips in there, and they'll roll you up and wrap you up and buckle you in this thing, and you flat out can't move. Your head sticks out. Okay? The rest of you is wrapped up in this rug. So you don't hurt yourself. And then the metallic strips. Now, why would they have metallic strips in there? Well, that's so that they can tase you anywhere on this rug, this turtle suit. They can zap you with the taser, and it will spread the tasing throughout your whole body. You can't move. You're trapped. The only thing you can do is probably wet your pants, scream, and take shock after shock after shock. This is what happens. This is what we're dealing with. This is the other team. This is why they're referred to as the plague.
Basically, what I've seen, I had 2 stints in jail. First one for 4 days, the second one for 3 days. Because in court, I was holding the judge accountable, And what I found out in that short stint, the jail here, where I was being incarcerated in, it's basically running by the very same bunch of bastards. And the ones that have still a sense of honesty left, they're too damn coward to speak out.
I just did a quick, let's see, I'm just doing a really quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right off the top of my head, I just rattled off 8 USA Prepares instructors who were arrested. One was the chief of police. He was arrested for supporting the Constitution. Another guy, Steve Angle, he was arrested because he opened his door. Cops showed up at his door. He opened his front door around a little after midnight. Okay, he had his .45 in his hand, his left hand, holding it by the muzzle. He opens the door. Cops say, "We got a 911 call." He said, "Not from here." So they saw the .45 in his left hand held by the muzzle, not pointed at anyone, just holding it so he could open the door. He's right-handed, so he would use his right hand to hold his .45. But when he opened the door, he transferred the .45 to his left hand. After midnight, the doorbell rings. I mean, what do you think, right? So I would be concerned. Well, they arrested him, beat him up, arrested him. Oh, hey, there's even more. Then we've got Bob Estep. We've got, of course, we've got Silent Night, Mike Parsons, and then we've got another Mike who comes to the meetups. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of our instructors who have been arrested. No kidding, class. And did they commit any crimes? No. Absolutely not. One guy was in prison for 15 years, Jeffrey Deskovic. Rape and murder. He didn't do it. He won a $46 million award, but they stole the best years of his life.
Yep.
He was a teenager in high school. We'll be right back. Werner Bock's with us. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507, 800-478-1507, 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD, and if untreated, could lead to blindness. The good news, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that may reverse some vision loss. For free AMD information, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. There is a cure in sight.
Here's Dr. Paul Meyer, Christian psychiatrist, author of 85 books, and founder of the national chain Meyer Clinics, to tell you about To Your Health liquid vitamins.
I've been taking these every day for over a decade now, and I try to encourage every one of my clients to take them every day. And there's a number of reasons. First of all, it's the best vitamins you can get. It's got dozens of vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients in it. And then the most important reason why I do it as a psychiatrist and recommend it to my patients is because it's got brain food in it. It's got the essential amino acids. It's got tryptophan, phenylalanine, tyrosine, choline, vitamin B6, and these chemicals that are all natural from food turn into the brain chemicals that make you happy.
To Your Health is delicious. Find out more today. Call us 800-801-3459 or visit online at mytoyourhealth.com. Use the coupon code RADIO15 for a 15% discount on your order. That's mytoyourhealth.com.
Attention backpackers on a budget. Why spend $80 to $300 to pump clean survival water? Introducing the Viva Water Pump Kit from Viva Outdoor Products. Super easy to use and super lightweight at only 6.5 ounces, the Viva Water Pump Kit provides high flow rate at 1 ounce per stroke, can be one hand pumped, and is dependable and affordable at only $24.99. Filter not included. Get your Viva Water Pump Kit at VIBA-ODP.com from Viva Outdoor Products.
Classes, it's not just here. You've just heard Werner Bock talk about the problems in New Brunswick, Canada. You heard Gwyneth talk about the problems in Australia. Front page headlines of the New York Post right now. Civil war. 4 cops killed at anti-police protests. It's not 4, it's 5. But that's the headlines of the New York Post right now. If you look at Daily Mail, .co.uk. Police kill sniper after 12 cops were shot and 5 killed during furious nationwide protests over U.S. police shooting of 2 black men. And then you find out that Philando Castile's mother reveals not one official has reached out to her in the 2 days since his death, and she hasn't been allowed to see his body. That's the mother of the young man executed, murdered by the police. It's unbelievable what's happening by the police across this country, and they're saying it's racism. I don't know if it's racism, but I know people are getting killed by the police. Werner?
We have to stay reasonable, document, and try to find out among the members of the police forces that are still reasonable people and appeal to their conscience that they finally start speaking out. But this has been a long time in the making. In 1976, 1 year after my trouble started out, I went to see the chief of the New Brunswick RCMP, Christensen. And I told him about the misdeeds of the officers under his command. And he looked at me kind of sorrowful and he said, you know, in every basket there are some rotten apples. And I replied, and when you leave the rotten apples too long in the basket, then pretty soon your whole basket will be rotten. And he did not reply anything on it. But I could see on his eyes, you know, that he got the message.
And Werner, that's your description, your analogy is exactly correct. And that's one of the problems that people have with the police today, because there may be some good ones. And I'm looking for proof of that. First-hand proof. And what I want to see is the police who are good. I would like to see them rout out the ones who are bad and get them out of the police force. Rout them out, rat them out, get them prosecuted for violating their oath of office and breaching the public trust against we the villagers. You know, Werner, yesterday I had to do a rerun because my surgeon's office called and they wanted to see me and check me out and make sure I was okay. And so I had to do a rerun of yesterday's broadcast. So I was in Springfield, Missouri, and on the way back, Mrs. Finelli and I were in the truck, and it was a multiple lane road, and there pulled over was a motorcycle. I thought, wow, I see these blue and red and white lights, but why is he pulled over? And then as we passed, we could see a plainclothes policeman in a plain police car, not indicating that it was a police car, and the policeman had a light-colored shirt and a tie on. So now these cops are sitting looking like they are business executives dressed with, a shirt and tie on, and they're cops. What are they doing, hiding, sniping, and why did this guy pull over a motorcycle? Why? In a dangerous location. This is nuts. They're looking for problems. And they're putting the rest of us in danger. I don't like it.
If they don't find problems, they create problems. But you mentioned
absolutely.
Absolutely,
and We've heard the story of cops planting drugs, cops planting evidence. Why? Why? Because they're in ticket quotas and ticket contests and arrest contests. Knock it off. Take that stick out of our eye, because it can only get worse, because the villagers outnumber the government employees. And the villagers are getting furious, and we do not want this to escalate. Werner Bock, I'm sorry for losing my temper behind the microphone today, but it's out of control.
Vincent, it is time that many people lose their temper and start speaking out instead of holding back. But I don't advocate using any guns and start shooting.
How many of you want? I agree. Dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food. Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
The best kept secret in the firearms business is CDNNsports.com. CDNN Sports is the largest firearms liquidator in the U.S. We've got optics, accessories, gun parts, magazines, ammunition, and more. Sign up for our email specials today for the best gun deals, period. You will also be entered to win a Winchester 101 field shotgun. Go to Charlie, Delta, November Sports.com. That's CDNNsports.com.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com class. And when I say cocked and locked, I mean prepared for every situation that you may encounter. Every situation. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are taught to be prepared. That's what I'm talking about. Being prepared emotionally, physically, economically, spiritually, every way you can think of for what may lie ahead, including the way you operate your motor vehicle. Meaning, let's say you're pulling up to a traffic light and there's a car in front of you and you have a choice between the fast lane and the slow lane. Well, if you pick the slow lane and you don't pull right up to the bumper of the vehicle in front of you, if you leave 3/4 of a car length or more, and it looks like someone may fly into the back of your vehicle and rear end you, you have the opportunity to turn immediately to the right, jump the curb, and get out of the way. Or if someone wants to carjack you and wants to take your car, make sure your doors are locked. And if you have the opportunity, turn the steering wheel. Even if you're at a red light and you have to go through a red light, do it. Do it if that's going to save your life. It makes no sense to become a victim. No sense whatsoever in my book. Now, of course, you may be arrested, you may get ticketed, but what's worse? What's worse? So keep that in mind. And that's what I mean by everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. This is hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. David Zuniga is with us. This is 107 in the series, America Again. And if you go to page 1 of USA Prepares, you will find links to America Again. You will find that you can download the free PDF of David Zuniga's book. Welcome, David.
How are you?
David, I am angry. I'm angry about what's happening in the United States of America, Australia, Canada, what's happening all over. We refer to it as, the blue plague. These cops are killing us with impunity. And the headline of the Drudge Report right this second, one of the headlines is, on the Drudge Report, one of the posts shows the front page of the New York Post newspaper. It says, Civil War. 4 cops killed at anti-police protest. They got it wrong. It's 5.
Yeah,
it's 5
I saw that headline. In fact, I have asked you, I just sent you an email, you and 4 others, an email to see if you'll join us on Sunday night, on our Sunday night national call. We want to have a roundtable discussion about black, white, and police relations in this country. And I wanted to see if you'd join that roundtable. So that's in your inbox somewhere.
Okay, what time is it?
It's at 8 o'clock Central for 1 hour.
I think I can do that.
On Sunday night. I'd like to hear your voice in there. Sure. There are some things that we have to break through, and we have to just talk them through and work them out. And so we've got, I think there's 3 whites and 2 blacks Americans speaking in this round table. If you're joining us, we'll have 5. So, and me, I'll kind of moderate. So look forward to that. And we're going to work through some hard things together. Okay. Fear the People, my book. Back to chapter 2. Sorry, I missed last week. I was too slow on the draw, didn't get there in time, and the engineer moved right along. So I'll know next time. I've got to be right on time.
Well, by the way, you were early. You made up for it. You were early today.
Yeah.
I saw on the call screen before the first hour ended. You were already in queue. That was great.
Yeah, I was going to make sure. Yeah, I got to hop in early now. So in this chapter 2 of the book, Fear the People, and like Vincent said, it's on. If you go to USA Prepares, right on page 1, you can download the book Fear the People. It's free. Full of information. And so we're doing chapter 2 today. In this chapter, we deal with the cost, the spiritual and moral and economic and intellectual and even the legal cost of our having lost the spiritual war against Christ and the legal war against the Constitution. And that's what we're watching. We're watching this kind of fall apart before our very eyes. But as you see, as we continue through this book, and as I said in chapter 1, you've got to see the big picture. If you don't look at history and you don't see where we've already been and what we've been and done, you can't see where this part fits. And you'll freak out and you'll think this is the end. This is not the end. This is actually the best opportunity the American people have had in over 175 years to pull our Constitution back out of the fire. The best opportunity ever. So a lot of the freak out these days is because the internet allows you to drink out of a fire hose. And you're going to get all of the world's news all the time, and you're just constantly bombarded with stuff. So you've got to realize all of us have to kind of pull back from a lot of the world stuff and focus, let's focus on our country. Let's think about what's happening in our republic, what work we have to do that we can do. You can't change what's going on in Europe. You can't change right now what's going on in Russia or China or anywhere else. You can change what's going on in this country. If you're in Missouri, you can get in touch with Vincent, who's very graciously agreed to be our coordinator for the state of Missouri, at least to start. He's going to oversee it until he can find somebody, in Missouri. But America, again, is just a matter of the American people in every town and city standing up and saying, we've had enough, we're going to take this thing back. That's all America, again, is. It's popular sovereignty on the ground in real time. So if you're in Missouri and you're getting together with Vincent, approach him and say, hey, I'm interested. So we're doing this in all 50 states, and we're in 115 towns right now and growing. So All right, so chapter 2, back to chapter 2 of the book. We're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of what's happened to our country just in the last century, especially in the last 2 generations. Atheists and politically correct revisionists will deny this, but it's just a fact that this republic, this civilization was founded on Christ, and it's grounded on the Constitution. And if you take either of those out, we lose what we have forever. So those 2 things held our civilization together, and believe it or not, they still do. Christ and the Constitution still keep us from utter destruction. So those that are hacking away at those moorings, at Christ and the Constitution, they're at war with us. They're inviting the old dark to come back in. And by the way, this is happening all over the world. I mean, this attack on everything that's good or true or beautiful, it's always been happening since ancient times. So, but here it began in Lincoln's era with the Enlightenment that came over from Europe. So we've had 150 years of just hammering away at our defenses, and it's getting pretty thin. And what my book, the thesis of my book is, we are actually at the point where the enemy is falling in right in front of us. And all we have to do is circle around and take them. This is our time. This is our time to take them. If you look back at sexual license, when I was a kid, well before that, back in the 30s and 40s, and certainly by the 50s, when I was born in 1955, sexual license started leading to higher and higher and higher divorce. And that led to eventually 58 million people dead, 58 million babies dead, preborn Americans dead. And we sat and we watched this. And what can you do? I mean, unless you run an abortuary, what can you do about it? You can stand outside an abortuary and march around and maybe do something, who knows? But we've done very, very little about that. But in 2015, with Obergefell v. Hodges, the opinion where 5 judges rode this 50-year wave, of sexual sin, they rode it to its logical conclusion. It was like, okay, well, if everything else is cool, why not let 2 women call themselves husband and wife, or 2 men, or why not? And so the Obamas lit up the White House in rainbow colors and basically kind of twisting the knife into all the American people who still believe in marriage, and basically saying, hey, we the godless, we've captured America's fortress. That's what the Obamas did, and they did it very, very knowingly. And it's not just the Obamas; they're the poster couple for what's been happening over 3 generations now. And it didn't start with homosexual sin. It started with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And before that, it started with wife swapping. Just not honoring, not being faithful to the person you married. And so we went from the boomer generation to our kids and now our grandkids, and some of them, they take up sex by age 7, and they're being taught in government schools. They're being taught this stuff. So, and the staff in the schools, they were taught in the same godless system. So half of all marriages are ending in divorce. Almost half of all living American parents are on their 2nd or 3rd spouse. Sexual deviation from, monogamy, from the old norm, is now the new norm. The new norm is to deviate, to do one or the other kind of something other than monogamous marriage. So, and it goes beyond the sexuality thing. It's all about wealth, about getting stuff, about our desires, about our hobbies. We just need to repent. We just need to repent. It's real simple. When you get down to why your life is so screwed up and why your brain is going in 40 directions, when you start thinking about it, if you're a Christian, you know better. And you know that you know better. And right now we look at statistics and we say, well, wait a minute. Here's the church. Christians are pretty much statistically indistinguishable from the rest of the population. So what's the big, what do we have to offer? That's right. What do Christians have to offer today? If we're living exactly the same as the world. So we have to repent.
David Zuniga is with us. America Again. He is the founding member of AmericaAgain.net. And if you go to page 1 of USA Prepares, you'll see a post that says David Zuniga America again joins the faculty. Free download. And my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
In the 1950s, Dr. Joanna Budwig had a 90% success rate curing people of cancer using fresh pressed flax oil and cottage cheese. The combination of dairy protein with unoxidized flax oil was able to restore oxygen transfer. It is now well known the cells of our bodies require unoxidized omega-3 and 6 seed oils to both attract and absorb oxygen. For the first time, there are seed oils with virtually zero oxidation even after 1 year at room temperature. All other, quote, cold-pressed seed oils are structurally damaged and significantly oxidized by the time you consume them. Andrea's seed oils retain the correct shape, electron content, and information that is quickly communicated to all the cells in your body. By taking these sacred seed oils, your whole body will begin to use oxygen as the Creator designed it. Now combine this with our Life Force Enhanced One World Whey protein, and you have a winning combination to confer energy and health like never before. Call 888-988-3325 or visit sacredseedoils.com. That's sacredseedoils.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Nick is with us, AmericaAgain.net. Jack in Arizona, you're on with David Zuniga. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Vincent. How are you?
I'm very well. And how can we help you?
Hey, Vince, I was listening to your last guest you had on from Australia, and I was just wondering, one thing I didn't hear or anybody brought up was here in Arizona, the police had every right to go to her property, and she's lucky she wasn't arrested for felony hit and run. But that doesn't seem to be brought up.
Yeah, she was the victim. This guy crashed into her.
Yes,
this guy was on the...
she left the scene of the crime. That's felony hit and run. That's what I'm saying.
I can't address that because... Well, she's absolutely afraid of the police. She's literally afraid of the police.
I'm very afraid.
Well, who isn't?
In my small community also. But I don't run stop signs. I don't get involved in accidents and leave the scene. I don't answer my front door in the middle of the night when somebody has an accident out on the highway out here and needs to use the phone with a 45 in my hand. You know, there's certain things we have to do as citizens that are just commonly expected, Vince.
Well, hold it. You know, the census people came to my house, and it was getting dark. And so Mrs. Finelli, I was in the studio. Mrs. Finelli said, someone's here to see you. And I go down, and I've got my 45 on my side. It's not in my hand, but it's on my side, just like it is right now. Okay, that's part of my uniform. I mean, that's why I'm in the middle of nowhere. So, am I guilty of a crime for carrying a sidearm?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know where you're going.
I carry one also.
Okay.
But if someone comes to my
good.
door in the middle of the night, I have a shelf right behind my front door wall. That's where my gun goes. It's not on my possession or in my hand, because the laws could be.
Well, how are you going to use it?
Well, if I need
it's your castle.
If I need it, I can get to it very, very quick. I also have some other firearms located in my home to where if I have to run, I can probably get one too. But I know that's just me and that's just you, but there are certain laws that as citizens we're just expected to naturally follow. Kind of like my dad said when I was growing up, don't do as I say.
Well, I'll tell you what. Okay. Okay. Do as I say what?
Just do as I say, don't do as I do, son. Because I wanted to do some things the big boys did, but I couldn't do that because I was a little guy.
Oh, sometimes my son says, "Dad, I know it's not that. It's do what you meant rather than what you said."
That's funny, but man, you are so right. You could.
Anyway, Jack, what we'll do is I'll ask Gwyneth Isaacs to come back on. She's one of our instructors, and she can detail what happened and why she did what she did. But I can tell you, I heard in her voice when she called me that she was in fear of her life because she and the police don't get along so well. And she was in fear that if she stayed there, she would be arrested. You know, how many times do the stories get twisted? You can see on the front page of a lot of websites right now, this black man lying dead, shot 6 times. He was on the ground. 2 cops are holding him down, and then they shoot him. Who the heck wants to be near cops? As a matter of fact, at our expos, typically you go to an event where there are a lot of people and you see the police and they're hired. The cops get hired by the promoter of the show. Well, I started saying, we don't need the cops. What the heck do we need their intimidation presence for? We don't need to pay them to intimidate our guests. We don't need them. So we stopped having them come.
You won't get me to not agree with you. We just had
I've had
shot in that motel here in Mesa here a couple of months ago.
You're talking about with the guy who had you're talking about the exterminator who had a pellet rifle for part of his business?
Yes.
He gets executed by the police? Yeah, because some jerk.
And they are prosecuting that officer. He's been fired. He's in jail, and he's being prosecuted.
Oh, that's good for.
Do work right.
That's a good first step. How about the guy who was in Hayward, California? And he goes to visit his buddy, and then unfortunately, the guy visiting his buddy had maybe had a beer or 2, and so he's waiting for his buddy. He goes, sits on the front porch, saying, "Geez, he's not here. I wonder where he is. I'll just sit here." So he picks up the garden hose, and he's holding the garden hose nozzle in his hand. Guy across the street calls the cops and says, "There's a guy I think he's got a gun in his hand, a small revolver or something like that." The police come in force, and they say, "Drop it, drop it." And he's like, "What?" And they execute him right on the spot. What do you have? A garden hose. Jack, thanks so much for your call. Thanks so much for your call.
Anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9859. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9859. Call 1-800-958-9859. 1-800-958-9859.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Class David Zuniga is with us, and, I've assigned homework for this class, and one of them is, if you happen to have Netflix, there's a documentary called Cuba, The Forgotten Revolution. And if you want to, and this is 1952 through 1957, the overthrow of the Batista regime. Fidel Castro was involved in overthrowing the Batista regime, and so were a few other people who were revolutionaries. They've had it. They had it with their government. They had it with the oppression. And I suggest that you consider watching it. It's called Cuba, The Forgotten Revolution. Lots of real footage that appears on this video, this documentary, and it will show you how horrible a revolution is, how horrible a civil war is. And if you think I want a civil war, no, I don't. I am not advocating for civil war or revolution because it's miserable. I think there's a better way to do it, and I think David Zuniga is he's got the plan. The plan is really simple. Bring these Congress critters back home. Bring your representatives back home where you can meet with them. And if you don't like what they're doing, you knock on their small office door, and if they're not there, you leave a note on there. And if you still don't get satisfaction, well, because they only represent a small number of people, then you go to their house. You say, well, I'm so glad you're home. Or if they're not there, you tell their spouse, I just wanted to talk to my representative. Now, here's my phone number. I'll be back tomorrow. That's how it works. David, am I confused?
Nope, you're right on target. That is what we will have if we stand up and work for it. It's not even much work that we have to do, but you've got it exactly right, Vincent. And the other thing that I guess you didn't make clear enough, but I know I've made it clear, and so have you in the past, when we have 6,400 members in the U.S. House instead of 435, the districts will be very small. You can easily drive across your U.S. congressional district in just a few minutes, because you can only have, according to the original law that was the original First Amendment that was passed as the Article the First in our Bill of Rights. Go read the Bill of Rights, the original Bill of Rights, and you'll see Article the First, and it says that you can have no more than 50,000 people in a district. Right now, we have up to 750,000 and more people in a U.S. congressional district. So it's very hard. And they're always in D.C., so you can never get to them. You can never see them. You can't even see their staff members, usually. It's very, very, very hard to get anything done. So, and what they say, what they like to say, and what their handlers like to say, and what the corporations that own them like to say is, oh, well, they'd never get anything done if they were home and all split up and all. Oh, that's exactly backwards. What happens right now is they are run by and owned by corporations. That's been the case since Lincoln was in the White House, and the 37th Congress passed the Greenback Bill, what they call the Legal Tender Act, which was completely illegal, and that's where the counterfeiting started. That was the birth, really, of the Fed. The Fed cartel 51 years later was just sort of a handoff directly to the banksters that were already running it for 51 years, since 1862. So we've been hijacked for a long, long time. We've been sitting on this hijacked bus forever, and we think this is the way it's supposed to run, and we think somebody else is supposed to work out our future for us. No, it's up to us. Every American has. I don't care how little you earn. I don't care what kind of house or apartment you live in or whatever. It doesn't matter. You are, as an American, you are at the top of the feeding pyramid, the food pyramid. in America. We are above the Constitution, and we have to enforce it. And we never have. And so we've got this mess, this huge mess. And we think, well, what's ever going to become of us? Well, if we sit here for another generation or two, probably we're going to, this republic is going to entirely collapse. It is very close now, but I theorize, I believe, and this is what my book, I think, proves, if we just stand up, I know this sounds terribly simplistic, but if we just stand up, just a few million of us, in fact, we don't even need a few million, will stand up and do exactly, step by step, the tactical and then strategic points that I have, the plan that I have laid out in Fear the People. We will take this republic back. It is completely logical, lawful, peaceful, and you know, it starts by getting that original Article the First of our Bill of Rights, getting that through 27 more legislatures. And so that's what we're working on this year and next. It's the first thing. And when you look at it and you say, all right, but what do we first have to do? How do we do that? We have to have a lot of people. If you don't have a lot of people, you don't scare anybody. And we're going to get every single one of the 7,383 members of all the state legislatures. We're going to put them on record. Now, there's only 39 states that need to ratify. I mean, that can ratify, because 11 already ratified the original First Amendment way back in 1789 and 90. So in those 11 states, we don't need to corner those members of their legislatures. In all other 39 states, we do. We're going to get every single one on record. Do you or do you not support, will you or will you not vote to ratify the original First Amendment as the 28th Amendment, so that we can have small districts? And that's going to force all the rest of this to happen. It's going to force them to come home. So see how we do it? We do it. This is the easy way, and it's the very lawful way. And it's like you said, Vince and I agree totally. None of us wants a revolution. Is ridiculous, because all you do is make things worse, and then everybody's fighting everybody. I mean, this has happened before. This, by the way, this happened all the way back in Rome. You know, so when you had, you know, a monarchy first, and then in 509, I think, something like that, the Senate, they created a Roman Senate, and they bounced out the last king in 509 BC, and then Julius Caesar came and defeated Pompey in 45 BC and said, "Okay, I'm the supreme ruler. I'm God. You're going to worship me now." You know, and he killed the republic. And then 1 year later, that's when Brutus and the senators assassinated Julius Caesar on the floor of the Senate and said, "Okay, we want our republic back." They were going to try to restore their republic. Didn't work so well, did it? As history proved. I mean, for the next 300 years, all there was civil war and until, I guess, Constantine. But again, you can't find, you go back as far as you want, you can't find a republic that fell and then rose back up. So if our republic falls, I think we're toast. But if our republic rises now under law, the law that we already have, our Constitution that we already have, then nobody can say anything against it. It's just the people who are already above the Constitution enforcing the Constitution. Who can be against that? This is one of those things, it's a real no-brainer that people on the far left, people on the far right can agree with. The atheist can agree with me, a Christian, about this. This is something that isn't, people can't fight about this if you just handle it right. So that's where we are. That's where we're headed, is to try to take back this republic out of the, the licking flames that are already touching the edge of, the edge of this thing. So it's been a long, long time. We lost this culture a long time ago, and we lost this rule of law a long time ago. And we're just, we've just been sitting, watching the destruction instead of fighting smart. So that's what this book, Fear the People, is about. It shows you how we're going to take this back. And this second chapter is about kind of the spiritual issue, but it also talks about the law, because how did we lose the culture? In 2003, it was a Massachusetts case. The sexual pervert lobby said, okay, we're going to go after judges, and we think that's the way to win this because we can't win it in the legislatures. they won 19 federal rulings and 9 state rulings that kind of held everybody else hostage. The less than 1% or whatever, the homosexual lobby held everybody else hostage through the courts. And they were able to do this 19 times in the federal courts and 9 times in the state courts. But the fact of constitutional law is that when 5 U.S. Supreme Court justices cited in Oberfeld v. Hodges that it said that marriage was 2 men or 2 women, they had no jurisdiction. Just like they didn't have jurisdiction in 1862, I told you, when the legal tender cases came up, the case came up, the legal tender law was passed in 62, where the 37th Congress just said, yeah, we're going to make paper money. Paper's going to be money now. And Lincoln said, oh, cool, and he signs it. Well, that was illegal. And those cases started coming up in 1871 with, don't remember the name of the first case. But anyway, in 1871, the court said, nope, it's illegal to use paper. And then 1 month later, they reversed themselves and said, no, paper's fine. It's okay, even though the Constitution says gold and silver only. So the court has been siding with a completely lawless Washington, D.C. for 150 years. And they had no right to do that. They have no power. If you go read Article 3, Section 1, Clause 1, that's where we set up the court. We, the people, create the Supreme Court. And we authorize Congress to create inferior courts for their federal matters only. And then in Article 3, Section 2, Clause 1, we kind of give the Supreme Court its limits, and the inferior federal court, we give them the limits. We say, this is what you can do. We say that they only have jurisdiction if a case arises under the Constitution or under conforming federal laws or treaties, or if if any of the states are parties to the case. The federal courts can't be involved if it doesn't meet those tests. So if in the Constitution we're not specifically authorizing something for our federal servants to do, but they still pass some bogus law to do it anyway, we can go after them in criminal court of their state. And we can say the state court is the higher authority in this case. You cannot do this thing.
David Zuniga, when our daughter started going to college at age 14, she came back from college and said, homosexuality, that's an alternative lifestyle. I said, hold it. No, it's not. No, it's not. And that's what they teach in school, even 15 years ago. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
The best kept secret in the firearms business is CDNNSports.com. CDNN Sports is the largest firearms liquidator in the U.S. We've got optics, accessories, gun parts, magazines, ammunition, and more. Sign up for our email specials today for the best gun deals, period. You will also be entered to win a Winchester 101 field shotgun. Go to Charlie, Delta, Novembersports.com. That's CDNNSports.com.
Hi, my name's Tim Forehand. I'm a deputy sheriff. In my job, keeping in shape is important. I've tried other products to get my weight down, but nothing has worked like Android 400. In just 3 months, I've dropped 51 pounds, down from 230 to 179. Plus, the weight come off in the stomach area. I've gone from a snug 36-inch waist to a 32-inch waist, which I was in high school. I highly recommend the Android 400 to all my friends.
Guys, are you frustrated because no matter how hard you try, it seems impossible to lose stubborn belly fat? Then discover why thousands of men each month rely on Andro 400. Lose belly fat, gain energy and confidence, and feel great about yourself. Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
This is Holly Thomas, Group Vice President of Cause Marketing for Macy's. Our company is working together with the March of Dimes through March for Babies to raise money and awareness about the serious problem of premature birth in the U.S. That's why Macy's is committed to raising funds through our employees, customers, family, and friends to improve the health of moms and babies everywhere. Won't you please join us in March for Babies? Start a team today at marchforbabies.org.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
The best kept secret in the firearms business is CDNNsports.com. CDNN Sports is the largest firearms liquidator in the U.S. We've got optics, accessories, gun parts, magazines, ammunition, and more. Sign up for our email specials today for the best gun deals, period. You will also be entered to win a Winchester 101 field shotgun. Go to Charlie, Delta, Novembersports.com. That's CDNNsports.com.
Class David Zuniga is with us, and they invited me, and that's AmericaAgain.net, AmericaAgain.net. And if you'd like the free download of his book, Fear the People, you can just go to page 1 of USA Prepares, and you click on David Zuniga and take you right to the link to the free download. And David, I'm looking at your email that you sent me during the broadcast about the conference call on Sunday, okay? And is it okay if I give out the phone number for those who want to participate?
Of course, of course.
Okay. So, class, this is Sunday night. It's about a 50-minute conference call. 712-775-7031. Repeat, 712-775-7031. And then there's a passcode. And the passcode that you'll need to enter is 344. And then pound. Let me repeat that. 123-277-344, pound sign. And the time of this conference call is, David, at 8 o'clock Central?
8 o'clock Central, yes.
That's 8 p.m. Central Time, Sunday. And my plan is to be there. And who else is going to be there? I see Lauren Dowling, America Again, State Coordinator, Ohio. She's a black homeschooling mother. Joyce Riley of Genesis Communications Network, the Power Hour. I know Joyce Riley. I've been to her farm. She's been to our expos. She's been on the air with me, and I've been on her broadcast. I'll be there. Earl Wallace, America Again, State Coordinator, New York, a black pastor and teacher. And Matt Mida, MIDA.
MIDA.
America Again, MIDA, okay. Chief Operating Officer, and his wife, Shayne, is black, originally from the UK. So you have three people who are going to be on this call whom are black, and Joyce Riley, I know, is white, I'm white, and you're moderating. So it's 3 whites, 3 blacks. Is that correct?
Yes, and what I was hoping you would do, and I think you can do it very well, is bring in this whole thing about the police, because the whole police brutality thing is not just a black issue. A lot of us, like the person that just called in, and you and I'm sure, and most of the people that listen to this show, when you see a cop driving behind you, something happens to your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it either stops or...
Yeah, and if he stops you... See, this whole police state is not America. This is what Europe always was, and our parents looked at Europe and said, whoa, never here. Well, it's here. And so I'm hoping that you'll bring that aspect, and if you'll send me your, whatever pitch you want to do at the round table, I'm going to put all of you all together in a round table and try to get everybody in the 50 minutes. But it's going to be a great discussion because we've got to start doing this. White and black Americans need to start talking about how to, and I know we've done, many people have had these, black and white roundtables, but look, for America Again, we're getting ready to take on the most powerful machine on earth, and that's the machine that owns Washington, D.C. and runs it from behind the scenes. And if we're going to do that, we have to do that as a unified American people, and that means that people like me that are Christian, I've got to be able to sit down at the table with an atheist and say, you know what, my fellow American, I will work with you. I will work. I know you're an atheist. We vehemently disagree on some things. And you may say there is no God and all of that, but you know what? You and I agree that there is a Constitution, and you and I have to enforce that law, because this place is going nuts, and we have to enforce it together. So I have to be able to do that. All of us have to be able to do that together. So I look forward to that Sunday night.
Me too. And David Zuniga, my contribution will be how cops can set us up and build cases against us that are not true, because it's happened to be more than once. And that's what I'll contribute. Beautiful. What's happened to me, firsthand experience, being set up by a former cop, building a case against me. There we go. David Zuniga, AmericaAgain.net. Please consider going to his website, or you can go to usapreparedness.com, page number 1, and download a free copy of the book, Fear the People. David, we'll see you next Friday for 108 in the series.
Thanks, Vincent.
Thank you. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you...